5 Stoic Rules to Emotionally Detach from Someone, Marcus Aurelius's Stoicism. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words from Marcus Aurelius hold a timeless truth. Our emotions often feel like they control us, especially when we're deeply connected to someone. But what happens when that connection fades, or worse, when you realize it was one-sided? How do you navigate the overwhelming weight of detaching from someone who once mattered so much? If you've ever asked yourself, how can I stop caring? Can I truly let go without losing a part of myself? You're not alone. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting down or becoming indifferent. It's about reclaiming your inner balance and finding clarity amid emotional storms. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. In this video, we'll uncover 5 powerful Stoic rules to help you emotionally detach from someone, guided by the profound wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. These aren't abstract ideas. They're actionable steps that can reshape the way you think and feel, setting you free from emotional chains. Are you ready? Let's get started. Rule 1. Understand the impermanence of life. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom challenges us to confront one of life's hardest truths: impermanence. Relationships, connections, and even the most cherished bonds are not eternal. While this reality might seem harsh, it's also liberating. Accepting the transient nature of life and relationships allows us to live with clarity and purpose, unburdened by unrealistic expectations. Let's now explore the first Stoic rule, understanding the impermanence of life and how it can empower you to detach emotionally without losing yourself. Understanding the impermanence of life is one of the most transformative lessons Stoicism offers, and Marcus Aurelius himself teaches us that everything in life is fleeting. Loss is nothing else but change, he wrote in Meditations, emphasizing that change is an inevitable part of nature. Yet for many of us, the concept of impermanence can be difficult to accept, especially in the context of relationships. We anchor our emotions, identities, and expectations to the people we love, expecting them to remain constants in our lives. But relationships, like seasons, evolve and often fade. This truth, though painful, can become a source of strength when approached with a Stoic mindset. Instead of clinging to people or moments, consider viewing them as opportunities for growth and connection in the present. Whether it's the slow drifting apart of a longtime friend, the end of a romantic relationship, or the inevitable loss of loved ones, impermanence doesn't diminish the value of those connections. It magnifies it. Relating this principle to modern life, think about how often we struggle to hold on to relationships that no longer serve us. You may find yourself chasing someone's affection or constantly overanalyzing why someone has pulled away. This emotional labor drains your energy and keeps you trapped in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. The Stoic approach reminds us that letting go doesn't mean you care less. It means you respect the natural course of life. For instance, in the age of constant connectivity, social media amplifies the illusion of permanence, making it harder to accept when relationships fade. But consider this: every interaction you have, no matter how brief, shapes you in some way. Instead of mourning what is lost, focus on the lessons and experiences that remain. Marcus Aurelius invites us to reflect. Time is like a river made up of events which happen, and its current is strong. No sooner does something appear than it is swept past, and another takes its place. This metaphor illustrates how life constantly flows forward, carrying moments and people in and out of our lives. Attempting to cling to the past is like trying to hold back a river, futile and exhausting. Instead, the Stoic perspective encourages you to embrace the present moment fully. When you shift your mindset in this way, you'll notice that relationships take on a new depth, free from the burden of unrealistic expectations. In practice, accepting impermanence allows you to cherish what you have while you have it. It helps you focus on the value of each interaction instead of worrying about its duration. Think about the relationships in your life right now. Are you investing your energy in appreciating their presence, or are you consumed by the fear of losing them? When you learn to let go of this fear, you free yourself to engage more deeply and authentically with others. For example, a Stoic approach to friendships and love means appreciating someone for who they are today, without demanding they remain the same tomorrow. Moreover, this principle applies not only to personal relationships, but also to professional and social connections. Perhaps you've experienced the end of a partnership or a career shift that left you feeling unmoored. While it's natural to grieve these changes, holding on to resentment or regret only prolongs your suffering. Instead, reflect on what that phase taught you and how it prepared you for the next chapter. As Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Understanding impermanence also builds emotional resilience, enabling you to face future changes with greater composure. Instead of fearing the end of a relationship or phase, you'll begin to see it as a necessary step in life's unfolding narrative. This mindset doesn't make loss painless, but it allows you to process it with acceptance rather than resistance. For example, when a close friend moved away, I initially struggled with feelings of abandonment and loss. But by embracing the Stoic principle of impermanence, I realized that our connection had enriched my life during its time and that the distance didn't negate its value. This shift in perspective helped me maintain gratitude for the relationship instead of fixating on its absence. Ultimately, embracing impermanence is not about detachment in the sense of indifference. It's about detaching from the illusion of control and permanence. When you accept that change is inevitable, you stop fighting against it and instead learn to flow with it. This mindset empowers you to face the ebb and flow of life with grace, knowing that every ending makes space for a new beginning. In the words of Epictetus, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." This timeless wisdom teaches us that peace comes not from controlling life, but from aligning our perspective with reality. As you navigate your relationships and life's inevitable changes, remember this: impermanence is not your enemy. It's your teacher. By embracing it, you gain the strength to cherish what is, let go of what was, and welcome what will be. Whether you're facing the loss of a relationship, a career change, or any form of transition, trust in the Stoic principle that change is the foundation of growth. Let Marcus Aurelius's wisdom guide you. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power. The time to embrace impermanence is now, and by doing so you'll find clarity, strength, and freedom to live with intention and peace. Rule 2. Master your emotions through rational thought. How often do we feel overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or anxiety, believing that these emotions are inevitable forces we must endure? Stoicism challenges this belief by teaching us that mastering our emotions through rational thought is not only possible, but essential for emotional freedom. When someone disappoints you, ignores you, or acts in a way that stirs a storm of emotions, the initial response is to react instinctively, letting your feelings dictate your actions. But what if you paused, questioned your emotional response, and considered the facts instead? This practice, grounded in Stoic wisdom, offers a pathway to clarity and control that can transform how you navigate relationships and challenges in life. Let's take a common scenario. You send a heartfelt message to someone important to you, perhaps a friend, partner, or family member. Hours pass, and there's no reply. How do you feel? Likely, your mind begins to race with assumptions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Do they even care about me? The emotional turbulence builds, and before long, you've convinced yourself of the worst. But here's the question. Are these emotions based on reality or speculation? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. The delay in their response isn't the cause of your emotional turmoil. your interpretation of their silence is. By shifting your focus to rational thought, you can break the cycle of overthinking. What are the facts? They haven't replied. That's it. Everything beyond this is a narrative you've created. Reframing your perspective allows you to respond calmly and rationally, rather than being swept away by unnecessary emotional waves. In modern life, where we're bombarded by notifications and instant communication, this lesson becomes even more critical. How many arguments, misunderstandings, or broken relationships stem from assumptions and unchecked emotions? Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to reflect. What story am I telling myself about this situation? Is it true? This small act of questioning your thoughts creates a gap between stimulus and response, giving you the space to choose how you react. One of the greatest strengths of Stoicism lies in this principle, that your emotions are not external forces but are within your power to understand and manage. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about analyzing it, questioning it, and deciding whether it serves you. I remember a time when I felt deeply hurt by a friend's lack of response during a difficult moment in my life. My initial reaction was anger, followed by disappointment and self-pity. But when I took a step back, I realized I was reacting not to their actions but to my own expectations of how they should behave. The Stoic principle of examining my emotions helped me see that my hurt stemmed from a belief that they owed me their attention at that moment. This realization didn't erase the pain, but it shifted my perspective. Instead of holding on to resentment, I chose to address the situation calmly, allowing space for understanding rather than conflict. This shift in mindset brought peace, not only to that relationship, but also to my broader interactions with others. You might ask yourself, how often do I let my emotions control my actions? When I feel angry or hurt, do I pause to consider whether my response aligns with the reality of the situation? Marcus Aurelius encourages us to take ownership of our minds. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This timeless advice invites you to actively curate your thoughts, choosing those that foster calm and rejecting those that fuel turmoil. Modern psychology echoes this sentiment, emphasizing that emotions are driven by our perceptions and beliefs. When you feel slighted or misunderstood, ask yourself, what evidence do I have for this belief? Is my response proportional to the situation? Mastering your emotions doesn't mean you become indifferent or unfeeling. On the contrary, it allows you to engage with others from a place of strength and clarity. In a world where emotions often run high, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or even social media, this skill becomes invaluable. Consider how many conflicts could be avoided if we approach situations with a rational mindset instead of reacting emotionally. Instead of escalating tensions, you can become a calming presence, leading by example and fostering understanding. The Stoics teach that we are responsible for our own minds, and through this responsibility, we gain freedom from unnecessary suffering. Ultimately, this rule isn't just about managing emotions, it's about reclaiming your agency in every situation. When you recognize that you have the power to shape your emotional landscape, you begin to navigate life with greater ease and resilience. This practice doesn't come naturally. It requires effort and reflection. But with time, you'll find that choosing rational thought over emotional reactivity becomes second nature. So, the next time you feel an emotional storm brewing, pause and ask yourself, what am I reacting to? Is my interpretation accurate? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and goals? By mastering your emotions through rational thought, you unlock the strength to face life's challenges with grace and wisdom, embodying the Stoic ideal of a life lived with purpose and balance. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Do not anticipate trouble or worry about what may never happen. Keep in the sunlight, the philosopher Benjamin Franklin once said. And while it contrasts with the Stoic principle of negative visualization, it highlights the delicate balance between preparation and optimism. Negative visualization, as taught by the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, is not about dwelling on worst-case scenarios or succumbing to despair. Instead, it's a tool to train your mind to face life's uncertainties with strength, acceptance, and clarity. When you reflect on what could go wrong, you don't invite failure or loss. You prepare yourself emotionally to handle whatever comes with resilience and gratitude. But what does this practice mean for you? And how can it change the way you live, love, and respond to challenges? Let's begin by exploring the heart of this practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't a call to morbid thoughts, but a reminder of life's impermanence and the importance of living with purpose. Imagine this. You have a close friend or family member whose presence is a source of daily comfort. Have you ever considered, even briefly, that one day they may not be there? While this thought may feel unsettling, it also sharpens your appreciation for the time you share now. By practicing negative visualization, you're not wishing for loss, but preparing your heart to value what you have while you have it. Doesn't this shift in perspective make each conversation, hug, or shared moment feel infinitely more precious? This practice also applies to your goals and ambitions. Have you ever hesitated to pursue something because you feared failing? What if, instead of avoiding that fear, you allowed yourself to confront it? Epictetus advised, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." In the same way, fearing failure often stops us from trying, but when you visualize the worst-case scenario, you demystify it. What's the worst that could happen if you fail a test, miss a promotion, or end a relationship? When you think it through, you often realize that the consequences are manageable. Confronting this fear head-on allows you to focus on what you can control, your effort, your preparation, and your attitude, while letting go of the anxiety over outcomes you can't dictate. How much more could you achieve if you stopped letting fear hold you back? Let's bring this idea into the context of relationships. Negative visualization can help you navigate the complexities of love and connection. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the thought of losing someone? Whether it's a romantic partner, a best friend, or even a cherished pet, this fear can cloud your ability to enjoy the present. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." When you practice imagining life without someone, you're not hardening your heart. You're softening it. You're teaching yourself to love them fully now, with no illusions of permanence. Think about how many arguments, resentments, or trivial annoyances would fade away if you lived with the awareness that every moment together is a gift. Could this perspective transform the way you approach your relationships? In modern life, negative visualization offers a powerful antidote to entitlement and dissatisfaction. Have you ever found yourself taking your health, career, or home for granted? It's easy to focus on what's missing or what could be better, but what if you pause to imagine losing what you already have? For example, if you're frustrated with your job, take a moment to consider what life might be like without the stability it provides. Or, if you're dissatisfied with your home, think about how it protects and shelters you daily. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." This practice shifts your mindset from lack to gratitude, helping you find peace and contentment in the present. Negative visualization is not just about preparing for loss, but also about strengthening your resilience. When you repeatedly train your mind to face difficult scenarios, you build a mental toughness that serves you in moments of actual hardship. For instance, if you rehearse the idea of losing a significant opportunity, you're better equipped to handle disappointment when things don't go as planned. Instead of being caught off guard by adversity, you meet it with the calm confidence of someone who has already imagined and accepted the possibility. This resilience doesn't make challenges disappear, but it gives you the emotional tools to navigate them. Can you see how this mindset might help you in both your personal and professional life? Ultimately, Negative visualization teaches you to balance appreciation with acceptance. It helps you stop clinging to the illusion of control and embrace life as it is, unpredictable, fragile, and beautifully fleeting. When you learn to let go of the need for permanence, you free yourself to live with greater intention and clarity. As you practice this Stoic principle, you may find that you worry less, love more deeply, and approach your goals with a fearless determination. So, the next time you're faced with fear, uncertainty, or doubt, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And how would I handle it? By facing these questions with honesty and courage, you transform fear into strength and uncertainty into gratitude. Negative visualization is not about becoming indifferent to life's joys, but about cherishing them more fully. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of life, finding peace in the present and resilience for the future. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Through this practice, what once felt like a source of fear becomes a source of wisdom and strength, allowing you to live with greater clarity and purpose. Isn't that the kind of life we all strive for? Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to you for being part of this incredible community. Your support and engagement mean the world to us. If today's content resonated with you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether it's your personal insights, a story, or simply your impressions, your voice adds so much value to this journey we're on together. If you're new here, just drop a comment saying, "I am a newbie." And if you've been with us for a while, let us know with "I am Stoic." These small interactions might seem simple, but they are a great source of inspiration and motivation for our team to keep creating meaningful content for you. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. How often do we find ourselves spiraling into frustration, disappointment, or anxiety because we're trying to influence things beyond our grasp? We stress over how someone feels about us, agonize over outcomes that we have no way of changing, or exhaust ourselves trying to meet expectations that were never ours to begin with. Stoicism teaches us that the key to emotional detachment and inner peace is to focus solely on what lies within our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, while letting go of the things we cannot dictate. But what does this actually look like in practice? And how can embracing this principle help you navigate relationships, challenges, and setbacks with greater clarity and strength? Let's start by breaking this idea down. Marcus Aurelius tells us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This wisdom is profound because it reminds us that we are the architects of our emotional state. When we allow ourselves to be consumed by the behavior of others or the uncertainties of the future, we hand over the keys to our inner peace. For instance, consider a time when someone you cared about was distant or unresponsive. Did you find yourself overanalyzing every interaction, replaying conversations, or questioning your worth? While it's natural to feel hurt in these moments, the Stoics encourage us to ask, what part of this situation is within my control? You can't control how others act, but you can control how you interpret their actions and how you choose to respond. By shifting your focus inward, you regain the power to decide what you will and won't allow to disturb your peace. This principle is especially relevant in modern life, where social media and constant connectivity amplify our tendency to compare, worry, and seek validation. Have you ever felt inadequate because of someone else's curated online life or measured your success against an impossible standard? Stoicism offers a liberating perspective. Those external factors are irrelevant. Instead, focus on your own values, effort, and growth. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The world will continue to throw challenges your way, and people will behave in ways that you cannot predict or control. What truly matters is how you choose to respond. If someone disrespects you, you can't force them to change, but you can decide whether to address the situation calmly or to walk away entirely. By focusing on your response, you reclaim your power and avoid being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Let's take a deeper look at how this applies to relationships. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were constantly chasing someone's approval or affection? Maybe you bent over backward to prove your worth to a partner, friend, or colleague, only to feel unappreciated or overlooked. The Stoic response to this dynamic is clear. Stop placing your emotional well-being in the hands of others. Marcus Aurelius advises, be content with what you are and wish not for what you are not. Instead of trying to control how someone else feels about you, focus on being the best version of yourself. Ask yourself, am I acting in alignment with my values? Am I respecting my own boundaries? When you shift your attention from external validation to internal integrity, you not only free yourself from unnecessary stress, but also cultivate a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on others. This mindset also applies to our goals and ambitions. How often do we set ourselves up for frustration by fixating on outcomes we can't guarantee? Whether it's landing a promotion, winning someone's approval, or achieving a specific milestone, focusing solely on results can leave you feeling powerless. Instead, the Stoics teach us to focus on the process, what you can do here and now to move closer to your goal. Consider this. If you're preparing for an important project, you can't control how others will react to your work, but you can control the effort and dedication you put into it. By directing your energy toward the actions within your control, you eliminate the anxiety that comes from worrying about factors you can't influence. As Seneca wisely observed, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. In other words, focusing on what you can do, rather than what you can get, creates a sense of fulfillment and purpose. But what about setbacks and failures? How do we remain grounded when life doesn't go as planned? The Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control becomes even more critical in these moments. When faced with disappointment, ask yourself, what is still within my power? What can I learn from this? Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, redirect your attention to how you can adapt and move forward. This approach not only reduces suffering, but also helps you build resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable, but your response to them is always within your control. Marcus Aurelius captures this beautifully. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more self-reliant. Ultimately, focusing on what you can control isn't about ignoring the complexities of life or detaching from others entirely. It's about setting yourself free from the burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. By embracing this mindset, you allow yourself to engage with life more fully and authentically. You stop wasting energy on things that are beyond your reach, and instead invest that energy into what truly matters, your own growth, integrity, and peace of mind. So the next time you find yourself frustrated, anxious, or caught in a web of overthinking, pause and ask, what part of this is within my control? By answering that question honestly and acting accordingly, you'll discover a sense of freedom and strength that no external circumstance can take away. Isn't that the kind of clarity and power we all seek in our lives? Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture is an invitation to see life through a wider lens, to rise above the emotional entanglements of the moment and connect with a sense of purpose and clarity. In times of stress, disappointment, or heartbreak, how often do you find yourself consumed by the immediate problem, unable to see beyond it? You replay events in your mind, asking questions like, why did this happen to me? Or, how will I ever move forward? Stoicism challenges us to break free from this narrow focus and instead consider the grander context of our lives. This practice doesn't dismiss your struggles but allows you to frame them in a way that empowers you rather than overwhelms you. Have you ever asked yourself, will this issue matter 5 years from now? Or, what lesson is this situation teaching me? Reflecting on the bigger picture is about grounding yourself in the idea that life is a series of interconnected experiences, each with its own purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them. This understanding encourages us to embrace change as an inevitable and necessary part of growth. Consider a moment in your own life when you faced a challenge that felt insurmountable, a breakup, a career setback, or a personal failure. At the time, the pain may have felt all-consuming, but as time passed, you likely gained new insights, found opportunities you hadn't seen before, and grew stronger because of that experience. When you reflect on that journey, doesn't it seem as though the difficulty you faced was a stepping stone to something greater? This is the essence of reflecting on the bigger picture, recognizing that the obstacles you face are not the end, but part of a larger, unfolding story. In modern life, where we're constantly bombarded with information and distractions, it's easy to lose sight of this broader perspective. Social media, for example, often magnifies trivial concerns and creates the illusion that everyone else's life is perfect while you're struggling. But when you step back, you realize that everyone faces their own battles, and the snapshots you see online are just that, snapshots. Marcus Aurelius said, "You will meet with unkind, deceitful, arrogant, and unsociable people. Remember this, however, nothing is strange or unexpected." Life, relationships, and even our own emotions are filled with imperfection, and by acknowledging this, you free yourself from the trap of unrealistic expectations. When someone disrespects or disappoints you, ask yourself, is this event truly as significant as it feels right now? What can I learn from this person or situation? By doing so, you not only regain your emotional balance but also deepen your understanding of yourself and others. A good way to connect with the bigger picture is through a simple but profound question: what truly matters to me? Let's say you're caught up in an argument with a friend or partner, and emotions are running high. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to focus on being right or proving a point. But when you pause and reflect, you might realize that maintaining the relationship is far more important than winning the argument. Reflecting on the bigger picture helps you prioritize what truly adds value to your life, allowing you to let go of petty grievances and focus on what matters most. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or allowing others to walk all over you. It means choosing battles wisely and aligning your actions with your long-term goals and values. How might your relationships change if you approach them with this mindset? Another way to practice this rule is to reflect on the scale of time and the vastness of the universe. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the insignificance of human concerns in the grand scheme of things, not to diminish their importance but to remind us of their transience. Look at the past, its infinite void, and at the future, another boundless void. Only in the present is there anything. When you consider the briefness of your life compared to the vastness of time, it puts your worries into perspective. That missed promotion, awkward conversation, or temporary setback becomes less significant when viewed against the backdrop of eternity. This isn't a call to nihilism, but an encouragement to live with greater intention. If you knew your time was limited, how would you spend it? Would you waste it on grudges, fears, or superficial pursuits, or would you invest it in meaningful connections and personal growth? Reflecting on the bigger picture also fosters resilience. When you understand that every difficulty you face is part of a larger narrative, it becomes easier to endure and even find meaning in the struggle. Think of a tree weathering a storm. Its branches may bend and some may break, but the storm strengthens its roots, allowing it to grow taller and sturdier. In the same way, your challenges, though painful, are shaping you into a stronger, wiser person. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." When you see your struggles as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles, you transform them into tools for building a better future. At its core, reflecting on the bigger picture is about finding balance. It's about stepping out of the chaos of the moment and seeing your life as a whole. It's about realizing that setbacks are temporary, growth is continuous, and the only constant is change. By adopting this perspective, you empower yourself to move forward with clarity and purpose. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by a problem, ask yourself, is this truly the end, or is it part of something greater? By reflecting on the bigger picture, you can navigate life's challenges with grace and emerge stronger on the other side. After all, isn't the ability to find meaning in the midst of struggle one of the greatest strengths we can cultivate? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This statement encourages us to focus not on the uncontrollable events around us, but on how we interpret and respond to them. When something goes wrong, whether it's a broken relationship, a missed opportunity, or a personal failure, our natural reaction is often to dwell on the problem, replaying it in our minds and magnifying its impact. But the Stoics challenge us to ask, is this as significant as it seems, or am I allowing my emotions to distort my perspective? By stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, we can transform moments of despair into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Think about the challenges you've faced in your life, moments of heartbreak, rejection, or failure. At the time, these experiences may have felt overwhelming, even insurmountable. Yet, as the years passed, you likely gained a new perspective on those events, seeing how they shaped your character, taught you valuable lessons, or led to opportunities you couldn't have imagined. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, observe constantly that all things take place by change. Nature loves nothing so much as to change existing things and make new ones like them. This understanding can be profoundly comforting when you're in the midst of a difficult situation. Instead of resisting change, embrace it as an essential part of life's natural rhythm, knowing that every ending makes way for a new beginning. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to lose sight of this truth. Social media and the constant flood of information often keep us fixated on the superficial, amplifying trivial concerns and creating a distorted sense of reality. How often do you find yourself comparing your life to the carefully curated lives of others? Do you feel a sense of inadequacy or frustration, believing you're falling behind? Reflecting on the bigger picture allows you to break free from these self-imposed traps. Marcus Aurelius advises, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. In other words, the struggles we perceive are often a result of our own thinking. By shifting your focus from comparison to gratitude, you can begin to appreciate your unique journey and the experiences that make you who you are. This principle also applies to relationships, which are often the source of our deepest joys and greatest frustrations. Have you ever found yourself stuck in an argument or a cycle of resentment, unable to see a way forward? In these moments, reflecting on the bigger picture can help you gain perspective and prioritize what truly matters. Ask yourself, will this disagreement matter a year from now? Is being right more important than preserving the connection? When you approach conflicts with this mindset, you're more likely to find solutions that align with your values and strengthen your relationships. As Seneca wisely said, it is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. Sometimes, stepping back and choosing not to engage in petty disputes is the most powerful action you can take. The bigger picture also offers clarity when it comes to our personal goals and ambitions. How often do we tie our happiness to specific outcomes, only to feel crushed when things don't go as planned? Whether it's a promotion that didn't come through, a project that fell short of expectations, or a dream that seems out of reach, these moments can feel like the end of the road. But the Stoics teach us to view setbacks not as failures, but as stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacles are not barriers, but opportunities to adapt, learn, and grow. When you face a challenge, Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this experience to become better? One of the most powerful tools for reflecting on the bigger picture is to consider the scale of time. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the fleeting nature of human life, encouraging us to see our problems in the context of eternity. Look at the past, its infinite void, and at the future, another boundless void. Only in the present is there anything. This perspective reminds us that many of the things we stress about are temporary and, in the grand scheme, insignificant. While this might sound humbling, it's also liberating. If life is short and time is precious, why waste it on worry, regret, or anger? Instead, focus on what you can do today to create meaning and joy in your life. This idea of impermanence can also help us cultivate gratitude. When you reflect on the bigger picture, you realize how much you have to be thankful for. The relationships, opportunities, and experiences that enrich your life. Have you ever taken a moment to think about what your life would be like without them? By acknowledging their impermanence, you learn to cherish them more deeply. Seneca captures this beautifully. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Practicing gratitude in this way not only brings peace, but also strengthens your ability to weather life's inevitable changes. Ultimately, reflecting on the bigger picture is about finding balance. It's about recognizing that while your struggles are real, they are not the entirety of your story. It's about stepping out of the chaos of the moment and seeing your life as a whole, a journey filled with both challenges and triumphs, failures and growth. So the next time you find yourself caught in a storm of emotions, pause and ask, is this truly as significant as it feels? What can I learn from this, and how can I move forward? By embracing this perspective, you not only gain clarity and resilience, but also discover a deeper sense of purpose and peace. Isn't that the kind of strength we all strive to cultivate? The strength to not just endure life's challenges, but to rise above them and thrive. Life is a constant flow of change, and as we've explored today through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophy, embracing this reality can be your greatest source of strength. Whether it's understanding the impermanence of relationships, mastering your emotions through rational thought, practicing the powerful art of negative visualization, focusing on what is truly within your control, or reflecting on the bigger picture, each of these Stoic rules offers you a path to emotional clarity and resilience. These principles aren't about becoming detached or indifferent. They're about finding peace in a world that's always shifting and reclaiming your inner balance no matter what life throws your way. Think back to the moments in your life when you faced disappointment or heartbreak. Were you consumed by the immediate pain, or did you step back and see how those moments became turning points for your growth? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Every challenge you face is part of a greater journey, an opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. By choosing to live with intention, focusing on what you can control, and appreciating the present, you can unlock a sense of purpose and clarity that no external circumstances can take away. As you move forward, remember that life's impermanence is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. The relationships and experiences you cherish are made more meaningful because they are fleeting. By letting go of unrealistic expectations and accepting life as it is, you open the door to living more authentically and fully. As Epictetus advises, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. These timeless words remind us that true peace comes not from controlling life, but from aligning our perspective with reality. If today's video resonated with you and gave you tools to navigate life's emotional challenges, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who could benefit from these Stoic insights. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We're dedicated to helping you live a life of strength, wisdom, and purpose, guided by the enduring principles of Stoicism. Thank you for spending this time with us. And remember, the power to live with peace and resilience is already within you. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay stoic. We'll see you in the next video. You.